Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to today's class. In this session, we will be doing another video on quadratic equations. In today's lesson, we will be learning about how to plot a quadratic graph. So let's review what we have done up till now. To post your comments, you first have to get yourself registered in StreamYard so that I can see your comments here. Alright? So I hope you guys can see my screen. So let's recall what we have done up till now. In today's lesson, I will be addressing how to plot a graph. So it's very important to note down all the important points I'm going to tell you today. So we started with how to actually, what basically quadratic graphs are. Then we went to how to expand quadratic equations. After learning how to expand equations or quadratic equations, we learned how to actually factorize quadratic equations. After learning how to factorize equations using long methods, we learned how to factorize quadratic equation using the shortcuts. Those are your algebraic identities. After learning this, we went to solving quadratic equation, and we have done this solving in many ways. We have done the lowest level, that's the easiest, when you're given the factorized form of the quadratic equation. Then we learned how to factorize equation by the equation you're given. You'll be given an equation, you will have to factorize it, and then you will solve the quadratic equation. So this is what we have done so far, and then we learned how to factorize or how to solve complex quadratic equation. Then we spoke about what quadratic graphs are. We learned about the properties. Quadratic graphs are graphs which are in a curve shape. We learned what curve shape graphs are known as. They're known as parabola. We discussed about their application. Then we discussed about different properties of quadratic graphs. We talked about the intercepts, that's the x and the y-intercept. We talked about the line of symmetry. We talked about when your graph opens up, when the graph opens downwards. Then we learned how to find different values, different intercept values from the graph given to you. So we learned in the previous class how to find the x-intercept values, how to find the y-intercept values from the graph given to you. In today's class, we will be learning how to plot a graph. So today's class will not only be addressing the quadratic equation or the quadratic graph. This will help all those people who are learning how to plot a graph. So whenever you need to draw a graph, keep things in mind that first thing you need to have a data. So your data is very important. So if you have a data, you will be able to plot a graph. If you have no data, you won't be able to plot a graph. That's very obvious. So the data can be given to you in the question, or you will have to choose values. So if you see over here, we are given a question that the variables x and y are connected by the equation y is equals to x squared plus 2x plus 2. This is the equation given to us. They're telling us that there are two variables. There is one x variable and there is a y variable. These two variables are connected to one another by an equation that is y is equals to x squared plus 2x plus 2. So what they have done is they've given us the table down. They have given us some x values, and so they've given us some y values. So if you see over here, these two values are connected. They have a connection between themselves, and that connection is nothing but the equation given to us over here. That is y is equals to x squared plus 2x plus 2. So in the first part, they have told us to find the value of p. What is the value of p over here? That is the y value. So how do I find it? If you see over here, we are given different x values, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Leaving the first part, let's look at the second part. We see that -2, if the value of x is -2, the value of y is 2. How did I get this 2? How did I get this 2? If you see here, we are given an equation. If I put the value of minus 2 in this equation, we will get the value of y, that is 2. So the same thing will be done over here. What I will do is I will put the value of minus 3 in this equation above, and then I will be able to get the y value here. So let's do it here. So my equation here is x squared plus 2x plus 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this x value in the equation in place of x. Wherever there is x, I'm going to put the value minus 3. So minus 3 the whole square plus 2x. In place of x, I'm going to put minus 3 here plus 2. We have done this in the previous lesson, but I want to just carry my lesson from this point today, so that for those who didn't watch the last part can know what we have done up to now. So when I take the square of minus 3, so if I write minus 3 2 times, what is the meaning of square? We're multiplying a number 2 times. So minus 3 into minus 3, minus minus gives me plus, 3 3s are is 9, right? So I'm getting 9 over here plus, now 2 3s are is 6, but we are multiplying 2 with minus 3 here. So our answer will be minus 6 plus 2 is equals to 9. Plus minus is what? Just make sure writing each and every step here. So minus 6 plus 2. So 9 minus 6 is, it's 3 plus 2, and our answer will be 5. So you can see that when the x value is minus 3, the y value is 5. Alright, so you can check your answer over here. You're getting p is equals to 5. So the value of p here is 5. Now the second part, they're telling us we need to take a graph paper now. And so the main thing is when you have a table which is having some data, the next step is you have to plot that data on the graph paper. For that purpose, you have to take a good graph paper. You get a variety of graph papers in the shops these days, but you have to be very careful in buying it, because there are some graph papers which are zoomed, so you won't be able to plot all the values on the graph paper that way. So which is the correct graph paper? If you go to a shop, or you can do it at home before you go into a shop, take a scale and measure the box. If that box measures, if one box on the graph paper measures 1 centimeter, that is the correct graph paper. You will see some graph papers in the shop these days that are zoomed. If you try measuring the graph paper box, one box of the graph paper, it won't be measuring 1 centimeter. So those are not accurate, they are just for the purpose of practice. So if you see that the graph paper which are having 1 centimeter boxes, they are very very small, and they are very very, you can say they are very very tightened up, they are very very compressed, they have many boxes inside. Those are actually the correct or the accurate graph paper you can actually use, because we know that on a graph paper, one box represents 1 centimeter. So if you're not using the correct graph paper, then it means that you're not going to work on the concept. So instead of graph paper, using a scale of 2 centimeter to represent 1 unit. So this statement, 2 centimeter to represent 1 unit, it has two things to deliver. The first thing is, what do I actually mean by 2 centimeter? What do I actually mean by 2 centimeter? This word 2 centimeter actually means that we need to leave 2 boxes. If they're giving us 3 centimeter, we need to leave 3 boxes. If they're saying us 4 centimeter, we need to leave 4 boxes. This centimeter actually represents boxes, because we know that one box on the graph paper represents 1 centimeter. To represent 1 unit, it's telling us that आप graph paper पे एक दो boxes leave करें. When you're leaving 2 boxes, it actually means you're leaving 2 centimeters there to represent the first unit. When they're saying the first unit, they're referring to the scale that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright? This was something on the x-axis. Now they're telling us something about the y-axis also. So we have to take 1 centimeter to represent 2 units on the y-axis. This is a different case on the y-axis. Now they're telling us that we need to leave one box which measures 1 centimeter to represent 2 units. So when they're saying us 2 units, they're actually meaning the scale 2468. They're telling us that when you'll be plotting that, when you'll be putting the numbers on the x and the y-axis, on the y-axis you're putting on the numbers 2468, right? 2 units मतलब आप दो numbers skip करके लिखेंगे, right? 1 unit, they're telling us you have to skip one number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the x-axis and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 on the y-axis. Now, if you see this thing, draw the graph of y is equals to x square plus 2x plus 2. We know that whatever data we have in the table right now, we have got this data from this equation. अगर हम इक्वेशन को यूज ना करते तो मेरे पास डाटा भी यहाँ पे नहीं आता. For -3 is less than x and x is less than 3. What do I mean by this statement? So if you see over here, we have two numbers. So one number is -3 and the other number is 3. This is not to be used in this question right now because we are given the values, we are given the table over here. लेकिन उन क्वेश्चंस में जिसमें आपके पास कोई टेबल गिवन नहीं होती, जिसमें आपके पास डाटा नहीं दिया होता, in those questions in which you have to make it data by yourself, जिसमें you have to make data by yourself, आपको कोई numbers नहीं दिए, आपके पास ये वाले टेबल नहीं दी दिए, so you will use this statement in that scenario. So what do they actually mean by this statement? So -3 is less than or equal to x. इस बात का मतलब ये होता है कि जो -3 जो नंबर है वो x से छोटा भी है और वो x से बिल्कुल बराबर भी है. So this actually tells me कि मेरी x की पहली वैल्यू क्या होने वाली है, मेरी जो x की जो वैल्यू होगी वो पहली वैल्यू -3 होगी, क्योंकि दे टेलिंग अस दैट -3 इज लेस देन x. -3 जो है x की वैल्यू से छोटी है और उसके बराबर भी है. So when they're telling equal to, that means that it's -3. The first value is -3. Now they're telling us less than equal to. Less than का मतलब क्या है कि अब मैं क्या करूँगी, मैं वो वैल्यूज लूँगी जो x से बड़ी होगी, क्योंकि मैं पता है what they're saying is -3 is less than equal to x. Again I'm repeating. So understand the statement because maths is a language. So -3 is less than equal to x. Let's assume कि हमारे पास x की कोई वैल्यू है. Just keep it in mind that there is some value of x. They're telling us that -3 जो है ना उस वैल्यू से छोटी भी है और उसके बराबर भी है. तो हमारी x की वैल्यूज क्या होंगी, हमारी x की वैल्यूज वो होंगी जो इस -3 से बड़ी होंगी. हमें पता है कि when we go towards the negative values like -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, as the numbers in negative number line increase, numbers तो बढ़ रहे हैं, -3 से -4 तो हो रहा है, लेकिन अगर हम देखें तो वहाँ पे वैल्यू डिक्रीज हो रही है, राइट? -3 बढ़ा है या -4 बढ़ा है? We know that -3 is bigger than -4 because as the values of number increase in negative, the values actually decrease. ठीक है? So they actually meaning that -3 is less than equal to x. कोई x की वैल्यू है, उस x की वैल्यू से -3 छोटा है, राइट? और उसके बराबर है. So what I will do is I have taken the first value as -3 and then I have taken the two values like -2, -1, 0 which are actually bigger than -3. Okay, -3 याद रखें कि x की वैल्यू से क्या है, it's actually smaller than the x values and equal to the x values. ठीक है? So whichever numbers I will be taking now after -3 will be those numbers which are bigger than -. I hope I have made this thing clear to everybody. Now let's read the second part. अगर देखा जाए this has two parts. Let me break it down for you guys first. So -3 is less than equal to x. This is the first part. And the second part, this part is x is less than equal to 3. What do I mean by this? They're telling us कि जो x की वैल्यू जो है ना वो 3 से छोटी है, x is less than equal to 3. जो x की वैल्यू है वो 3 से छोटी भी है और 3 के बराबर भी है. So this is telling us कि जो भी मैं वैल्यूज x बॉक्स में रखूंगी और the values which I will be taking for my x axis will be less than 3. 3 से छोटी होंगी और 3 के बराबर होंगी. So you see over here I have kept 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 है और 3 से छोटी है. If you see I haven't exceeded beyond 3. So you can use the statement to actually choose the x values. If they're given as the x in between, अगर यहाँ पे x दिया जाएगा मतलब we have to choose the x values. If they're given the y in between, then we have to choose the y values. I hope it's very very clear. So after plotting the graph, if I can show you the next page, our graph will look something like this. This is the shape of the graph. So important points to note down over here is whenever you are plotting a graph, you have to make sure that you're going to use a sharp pencil. With sharp pencil, if you're not going to use a sharp pencil, what will happen is the examiners will cut your marks because examiners don't like the graph which have dark lines, right? So you have to make sure you're going to use a very sharp pencil. Your graph lines, the graph you're going to plot, the x-axis and the y-axis, they have to go on the graph line. वो बिल्कुल आपके ग्राफ की लाइन पे ड्रॉ होने चाहिए. It shouldn't be dark lines, शेडो लाइंस होनी चाहिए. This was the first thing. Second thing is you have to mention the scale. Normally we mention the scale on the top right corner. Keep in mind हम scale कहाँ पे represent करते हैं, हमेशा अपने ग्राफ के top right corner पे represent करते हैं. They have shown it over here, but it is the best thing to show your scale on the top right corner of the graph. If you see, all the points here are plotted through a cross. Cross के through जो है यहाँ पे points plot कर दिए गए हैं. If you see over here, these are crosses. You can either plot the points through a cross, or what you can do is you can use a dot and a circle. There are only and only two ways of plotting the graph, either a cross, either a dot and a circle. And there is no other way of plotting a graph. I hope it's very clear because people make mistakes here. They put dots, so this is not acceptable, right? So now after plotting the graph, you will be having a curve shape. So keep in mind whenever you have a curved graph, you will be using a freehand drawing. You will not use a scale here. Scale यहाँ पे use नहीं करना है. You have to use freehand to draw the curve here, right? So you can see the graph here. As we read in the question, we had to leave 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit. So they have left 2 boxes over here to represent 1 unit. So after 1 unit, they mentioned 2, they mentioned 3. You can see over here that they have made an arrow. This arrow is very important. Why it's very important? I asked students to make the arrow over here also because my graph is never ending. My pages can end, but the graph will never end. ये x or your y-axis never ending lines. Alright, they are actually known as rays because these lines have no ending. They can exceed and exceed forever. Alright, so you have to show these arrows up on the corners. Labeling the y and the y-axis is very important. Without this, you're going to lose the mark. After plotting the curve, you have to show the equation. The equation show करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है कि ये कर्व जो आपके पास आई है ये किस इक्वेशन से आई है, right? So as I told you guys, you can see here that there is, you can't see the x intercepts over here. यहाँ पे कोई, you can't see that there is a proper x intercept. We will be looking over here, but there is a y intercept. यहाँ पे एक y intercept है. यहाँ पे एक point है जो कि y axis पे cross करा, that is this point, right? But there you cannot see that any graph point is touching the x axis, so you don't have any x intercepts over here. So now I'll be moving back to the previous slide to see the next questions. You need to find the value of y when x is equals to 2.3. I'm going to copy down the question. You have to find the value of y. You have to find the value of y when x is equals to. You have to find the value of y when x is equals to. When x is equals to 2.3. So x is equals to 2.3. If you see over here, what they're telling is, you have to keep in mind, ये हम find कर सकते हैं using the equation, but you cannot use the equation over here because they have told us very clearly in the question that we have to use the graph. If you're not using the graph, then you will lose marks for it. So what you have to do is you have to first look where 2.3 is on the x-axis because they've given the value of x. So first we'll go to the x-axis, 2.3. This is 2.1, 2.2, This is 2.3. So you can mark your line over here, keep your finger on that point and go up, go up. And when you touch the graph, when your finger touch the graph, just stop there. Fine. On that point where your finger touches the graph, check the y value. If you see over here, if you can see my screen here, look at the arrow here. So I have put my finger here, I'm going up, 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 and I'm going to stop at the point where my finger touches the graph. Now what I will do is I'm going to highlight it, right? Now what I will be doing is I'm going to look for the y value. So if you see over here, I'm going to look for the y value and my y value is 12. So in this way, I got to know that my value of y is 12 when x is equals to 2.3, right? Now, let's go to the previous slide and look at the next question. The next question is you have to find the value of x. You were finding the value of y before, but now you have to find the value of x when y is equals to 3. So just remember the question. You need to find x when y is equals to 3. The next slide. So you need to find x when y is equals to 3. So you need to find x when y is equals to 3. So if you see over here, first what I have to do is I have to look at the y-axis and I have to look for the value of y, which is 3. So let me clear the screen first here. So if you see over here, I'm not given the 3 properly over here because I'm using the scale that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 on the y-axis. So I know that 2 is over here, so the 3 will be in the middle. So let's look over here. It's right here. You can see the line, it's already done. 3 is in the middle. If you're not knowing where in the middle, what you can do is you can read it out. So we know that it's 2, it's 4. So 3 हमेशा बीच में होगा, between the center. So you have to divide the boxes so that you have equal boxes on both the sides, right? So this is in the center. So you're going to move your finger up till you reach the graph. So you're going to move your finger. You will be moving your finger until you reach the graph. So now I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to highlight the graph with a highlighter. This is the point where my finger touched the graph. Now I'm going to come down to my x-axis to see the value of x. So my value of x is somewhere over here. So what is the value of x here? My value of x is 0.1, 0.2. My value of x. What do you think? Is it the answer? Is it the answer? Just think about it. Is that the end of the answer? The positive side also. So the value which I have right now is the positive value of x. So now what I will be doing is I'm going to move backwards for the negative value of x. So what I will be doing is I'm going to move to the negative side of the graph over here. So as I move towards the negative side of the graph, I'll be stopping at the point where my finger touches the graph. I'm going to highlight it. It touched here. And now I'm going to drop down to the x-axis. 2.4. It's not only 2.4, it's actually minus 2.4. So my value of x over here is minus 2.4. So here for y is equals to 3, I have two x values. I have positive 0.4 and I have x is equals to minus 2.4. So the last question is we need to find the minimum value of y. We need to find the minimum value of y and the value of x at which it occurs. So what is the minimum value? We learned in the beginning of this chapter when I started the graphs here that whenever my graph opens upwards, तो जो हमारे पास पीक पॉइंट होता है, जो हमारे ग्राफ की जो हम्प होती है, तो उधर जो उस पॉइंट को हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, मिनिमम पॉइंट बोलते हैं. वाई डू वी कॉल मिनिमम पॉइंट? क्योंकि वो ग्राफ में वो वाहिद पॉइंट होता है जो तमाम पॉइंट से छोटा होता है. What do you mean by the word minimum? Minimum is actually the value which is very very less. ठीक है? If you see over here, this is the point which I am pointing out right now. That is a minimum value. Because अगर देखा जाए तो ये वाहिद पॉइंट है पूरी ग्राफ में से जो सबसे ज़्यादा छोटा है. It's, you can say, a smaller person over here. So if you see, the value of minimum point on the x-axis is -1, and on the y-axis it is 1. So I hope it was clear to you guys how to actually plot a graph, the first thing, and then I'll make it clear how to plot a graph, but I just told you guys the rules you have to follow to plot a graph. Now I'll be teaching you guys how to actually plot a graph, क्योंकि हमने पहले decide कर लिया किस तरीके से कैसे calculate करेंगे. Now I'll talk about how to plot a graph. So let's go back to the previous slide. We will take some bunch of values. So first we're going to take the first part, -3, and I know that when x is equals to -3, the value of y is 5. So keep in mind, x is -3 and y is 5. So what I'll do is I'm going to look at x. I'm going to remove all the things over here right now. So what I'm going to do is, दिमाग में याद रखिएगा बस दो वैल्यूज है, एक है x की -3 and y is 5. So when I have to plot a graph, what I will be doing is, x is -3, so I will be checking the point -3 on the x-axis. It's right here. I'm going to mark it here. I'm going to put my finger here. And y is equals to 5. So I'll be checking out where 5 is on the y-axis. It's right here in the middle. It's here in the middle. So I'm just going to mark it here. -3 यहाँ पे, तो अपनी फिंगर ऊपर लेके जाए, यहाँ से अपनी फिंगर यहाँ पे लेके आए, एंड देन यू विल गेट अ पॉइंट. जहाँ पे आपकी दोनों फिंगर्स मीट कर जाए, दैट इज द पॉइंट यू गोना पुट अप ओवर हियर. Similarly, let's take another point. Let's take -2 on the x-axis and 2 on the y-axis. So -2 on the x-axis, keep your finger there, and 2 on the y-axis. Bring those 2 points together. So I'm going to put my finger up from here and up from here, and then you will get a point on one piece. So the ones who have problem doing this, you can use your fingers this way, like I'm showing to you right now. Again, let's take another example. Let's take 0 this time and 2. 0 on the x-axis and 2 on the y-axis. So 0 is here on the x-axis and 2 on the y. This is the 2 on the y-axis and this is 0. So this is, your finger on the 2 is there. This is the 0 coming up. So that's the way you're going to plot your graph. So I hope everything is clear to you guys. How to plot a graph, how to deduce values from the graph, what rules we have to follow while drawing a graph. So that was up with the class today. Let's look for some comments. Okay, picture is not clear. I hope it's clear now. Okay, let's come back. So that's up with the lesson today, and thank you all for watching the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And yes, share, like and subscribe, follow my page so you can know what I'm going to do the next, or you know what's happening here, so you can get your material you require. And then if you have some questions, you can post them in the comments below, or you can email it to me on the email mentioned over. That's rahat@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Take care and Allah Hafiz.